welcome to the second edition of the 21CW podcast. I'm 21CW Who, and joining me again is 21CW admin Kaiser. Now, Kaiser, we got the initial scrim wrapped up this weekend. What kinds of things can we take away from this scrim?
Well, for starters, the numbers were pretty good for the most part, so people are definitely excited to play. But like the NFL preseason, the wins and losses don't really matter. It's a scrim. And you can't really judge the play style or how good of a team will be from it. We saw some very vanilla strategies and some decent teamwork for the most part, but we'll see how it goes the rest of the campaign.
Yeah, it's definitely hard to strategize with the way the map rotation was. We played so many different maps. I know going into the week of battle, my particular army would just practice, and kind of pub all different maps. Looking at the loved-hated thread, though, several people commented about liking the opportunity to play with different people. As an admin, I know you were in the ranks with all three armies. How do you feel that the new teams played out? How did they get along?
I would say okay for the most part. Obviously, they're having to get back into the groove of things, so I expect a lot more improvements as the weeks go on in teamwork and coordination. Just got to get used to the new players, and all that will come on its own.
Yeah, I know. Speaking from my own army, we got a lot of new people that I had played with before. Luckily, as far as the Air Force goes, it's some people that I have worked with in the past. So those are just something that we can pick up easy. But teamwork is definitely critical for this tournament and Battlefield 3 in general. And the faster I think teams that can adopt that teamwork and get in groove and get in sync with one another, I think that team's going to be the most successful. I was glad to see some armored kill maps in the rotation, but the big surprise I think was seeing actually Metro in the lineup. Do you think Metro's ever going to make its way into normal battle?
Probably not, but who knows what could happen. I'm personally not a fan of Metro due to the layout of the map and the very linear gameplay. But then again, some people, and actually maybe a lot of people, seem to enjoy it, so you never know.
Well, what about rush maps? We didn't play those in this past scrim, but we've played them in the past. Has anyone thought about having tournament rules that might make it easier or more competitive for the attackers, or maybe that same approach in Metro that a lot of public servers run, where only once, or well, in the pubs it's no one gets explosives, but maybe on the US side or the side that's got the obvious map disadvantage would get explosives. Something to make those maps more competitive. What do you think about that?
I don't see Rush coming back, personally, because I didn't think it was that hard to tackle. I mean, it just takes a lot of coordination, just a tad bit of luck. That being said, like I said, I don't think we will see it back anytime soon. Most people didn't really like it too much, and most of those rules can be kind of hard to police.
So, rest in peace, Rush, I guess, right?
As of now, yes.
Alright, so one last thing on the scrim before we talk about next Saturday's battle. We like to recognize accomplishments, and normally I'd require proof, but being the first scrim, I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. But little bit big, congratulations to IDF Captain Rutah for knifing Dicky, one of the admins, during the course of the scrim. So, big pat on the back if you see him, give him some ribbing. Congratulations again to Rutah.
I don't know, Pixar, it didn't happen.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, from now on, Pixar, it didn't happen. I'm hoping that we can start getting some statistic numbers, at least some basic points, to kind of be able to recognize some people, maybe get in some recognition from the generals as far as players that are nominated, so we can start recognizing the people that perform well or that play long in the battles as these podcasts go along. So,
definitely.
Yeah, so moving forward to next Saturday's battle, we've got the IDF and the GAF as the two primaries. They're playing on Armored Shield, which is one of the new Armored Kill maps, as well as Bazaar, which is of course one of the classic ground maps on Battlefield 3. I gotta say, I'm really looking forward for this weekend. Even though my team's not the primary, we're gonna be reinforcing this new Armored Shield map. Is got no jets, which for me as a chopper pilot makes it pretty wonderful, and Bazaar's always fun. You got so much action going on. Everything's real condensed on that map. As far as Armored Shield goes, what do you think the keys to victory are on this map?
Well, if I'm correct, Armored Shield's the smallest of the four maps.
Yes.
Which makes it within range for the mobile RD to hit almost all the flags except for the opponent's back flag from your back flag. Plus, with no jets, it's going to require the ground forces or the opposing chopper to take out the other chopper. So I think the big thing will be, one, take out the chopper, enemy chopper. Two will be zoning and setting lines of defense to protect your mobile artillery and let it be the backbone of the killing zones.
Sounds like
if you can keep the arty up, you'll win.
Sounds like you got it worked out. You planning on going back to generaling anytime soon?
No.
Yeah, I can imagine it's pretty hectic trying to get everything planned out and try to get a strategy rolling.
If I do, next time it'll be my major general.
Alright. Well, what about Bazaar? It would seem like it's a simple rectangular map, but there's a ton of little rooms and alleyways to the point that we had to start naming them in the armies that I played in the past. What do you think about Bazaar?
Bazaar is an interesting map. It's actually my favorite of the infantry maps. Even though it looks like a giant rectangle, it's so intricate in the pathways that there's multiple ways to hit every flag. So it takes very well organized and coordinated attacks to really use it to its full advantage. And I think the team that coordinates the best will win the day on that map particularly.
Well, what do you think about the APC on that map? You know, the tank on Scene and the tank again on Dam of Van Peek have such a huge impact in the past. Do you think the APC can have that kind of an impact on this particular map?
I think it can have an impact. I don't think it'll have the impact that a tank on, say, Dalvamon or Sign Crossing does, just because those maps are more linear in nature and they have almost a predefined area you have to go through. While Bazaar, you have multiple ways. It can cover one area, and it can cover a flag and pretty much put the chokehold on one, maybe the one entryway to another flag. But it'll have an effect, just not to the ones we see on Dalvamon Peak or Sign Crossing.
Yeah, that makes sense. I know that really that APC can kind of just go around the perimeter. I've seen it get jammed up in there in a last-ditch attempt to cap that center flag, but otherwise it's kind of limited to where it can go compared to obviously all those little alleyways that the infantry can run in. Moving forwards, a little bit of tournament news for you guys. There was an announcement about camo recently. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, pretty much there's no longer no tournament rule. There's no tournament rule in camo anymore. You can pretty much use any camo, whatever your general and your HCOs want. That's their rule for their division only. So any camos are allowed.
That's good news for me. I know I usually run the default, but it's nice to, you know, express yourself in Battlefield to be able to unlock some of that camo that we've all worked so hard for. Moving forwards, there's some news regarding new players to the tournament and how they'll be able to select armies. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yes, if they have never played here before, it's not fair to punish them and say they can't play with their friends for one campaign just because they're new here and they haven't played. The whole idea with the draft system was for people that have been here before to spread talent and to have them play with new people. But any new recruits that have never played here before will be allowed to be in any army of their choice.
That's great news. I gotta say, that was probably that was my biggest reservation going in, as far as I was unsure of how the draft would play out. You know, I'd spent a lot of time trying to recruit players, get people in. Of course, I wanted to play with them. I felt like I scored that talent. So it's nice to be able to see them be able to pick which army that they want. If you have any other comments, questions, listeners, feel free to post them up in the thread below where this is going to be entered in the mess hall. Otherwise, that wraps up this edition of the 21CW podcast. Join us again next week. We'll have more in-depth coverage of the first official battle, as well as detailed looks at the upcoming maps, any particular standout performances, and other bonus content. So stay tuned, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Comms needed T-spawners Delta.